executing girls and women in Afghanistan. A new poll from Gotham Polling and Analytics shows Zoran Mandani is way ahead of his competitors. According to the poll, Mandani would get 41% of the vote, former Governor Andrew Cuomo 26%, and the incumbent Black Mayor Eric Adams would get 16%. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Rapid radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Something is going on with the Dodgers pitching staff. The Dodgers have been outscored 38-7 in their last 4 games. They lost their 4th straight Monday night, a 9-1 loss at Milwaukee. A bases-loaded walk in the bottom of the 9th inning gave the Angels a 6-5 win over Texas. The Angels are 21-20 at home. Ben Shelton, the only African-American in the men's quarterfinals at Wimbledon, will play Yannick Sinner of Italy on Wednesday. Sinner, ranked number 1 in the world, is 5-0 against Shelton. At 22, Shelton is the youngest player in the men's bracket to advance to the quarterfinals at Wimbledon since Andy Roddick in 2004. Roddick was 21. Tough break for the Indiana Pacers and Tyrese Halliburton. The Pacers found out Monday that Halliburton will miss all of next season. Halliburton tore his right Achilles tendon in the first quarter of Game 7 in the NBA Finals on June 22nd. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time, whenever news breaks, while we're on the air. It's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580, and we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. Thank you, thank you.
Tavis, Smiley, glad to have you with us in this hour of our program, our final hour today. Earlier on today's program, a couple hours ago, when I did the rundown for who we'd be talking to today, we played the Kool and the Gang song, Celebration, when I talked about this hour of our program, because we are celebrating Dr. Edda Fields Black. She is back to tell us what it feels like to be the winner of the 2025 Pulitzer Prize in History for her best-selling text, COMBEE, Harriet Tubman, the Combahee River Raid, and the Black Freedom during the Civil War. I mentioned earlier that we had an amazing conversation when this book first published, and I look forward to celebrating her in this hour. I said earlier today, if you missed our conversation the first time she was on, you don't want to miss today's conversation. There is a reason why she won the Pulitzer Prize. So let me just start, Dr. Edda Fields Black, by saying congratulations. I was tickled beyond explanation when I saw the news break that you were the winner of the Pulitzer Prize this year in history. So congrats. It's good to have you back on this program.
Thank you so much, Tavis. It's good to be here.
Let me just start, and let me ask you to set your humility aside just for a second. I've been at this a long time, as have you. And actually just a couple weeks ago. A couple of weeks ago, let me connect a couple of dots here if I can. If I can. A couple of weeks ago, I was watching a documentary. I almost missed it. It was on Netflix, as I recall, and they run these documentaries in and out. And it was on my docket of stuff to watch. I just hadn't gotten to it. So I got this notice from Netflix that this documentary, you have one last weekend to see this. It was a documentary about Toni Morrison, who I knew and loved and interviewed many times and hung out with Toni and had dinner with. I love Toni Morrison. And it was a documentary about Toni Morrison that I finally got a chance to see. And it was a powerful, powerful piece of work about her career. And there was a moment in her career you may recall, certainly Toni Morrison fans will recall, that a number of notable black folk in the Academy just went in on these institutions for not honoring Toni Morrison as they should, not giving her what she had earned, be it the National Book Award or the Pulitzer Prize. And, of course, she blew everybody away when she won the Nobel Prize. But there was a moment where Toni was not being given the respect by the folk in these institutions that honor great writers. So I raise that because while it does happen from time to time, I find myself sometimes just fretting about the way that stories about us, I'm talking about us as black folk now, stories about us just aren't met with the kind of honor that they deserve. So you see again why I was so just thrilled when the news came that you had won the Pulitzer this year in history, if any of that makes sense to you.
It does. It definitely does. And when you look at the number of Black folks who have won the prize, particularly in history, but in other genres as well, the numbers are so small. And to think about the luminaries like Toni Morrison, like August Wilson, um, like Alex Haley, right? Annette Gordon-Reed, Maribel Manning, people who have won the prize. It's awesome to be in their company. And it's also humbling thinking about so many people who haven't won, so many people who have done the work, who have, made tremendous contributions to our society, to our people, and who have not been recognized.
Yep.
So it's both.
Yeah. I'm always fascinated by the backstories this audience knows. So just tell me, just between me and you, anybody listening, where where were you when the news came that you had won, and how did you receive it?
I was actually in the airport in Monterey, California. I had been out in Monterey and in Oakland doing COMBEE book events. And I was leaving the hotel that morning. I'd packed. I was, a little early. So before going to the hotel, I opened my email and I had a very cryptic email from my editor telling me again how much he enjoyed working with me and what a wonderful project this was. And he went on and on. And the last sentence said, "No matter what happens today, nothing will ever change this." I called my mother. I read the email. I said, "Mom, something has gotten into him. What is going on? What is happening today?" My mother, 82-year-old mother, said, "Oh, the Pulitzer is being announced." What?
Mm.
So my mother told me, because the press tells you, they don't tell you anything. Okay. I knew nothing before the announcement, except that my mother had Googled it and put it on her calendar and said she was going to watch it on YouTube. I said, "Well, Mom, I'm on my way to the airport."
Mhm.
And my flight was scheduled to leave. Um, about 50 minutes before after they started the announcement. So, there are lots of Pulitzer
Sure,
categories
sure, sure, sure.
and they read them one by one with the finalists and the winner. So I said, "I'm probably going to miss it." Mom said, "That's okay. I got this." I'll let you know what happens. So I was sitting in the Monterey airport, which you probably know is tiny.
Very tiny, yes.
And it was packed because there were two flights, big flights leaving at the same time, both of which were delayed. So I'm sitting in the airport with people all around me watching on my phone. And that's where I was when I learned that COMBEE won the Pulitzer Prize.
That is an amazing story. I want to probe that when we come forward. I want to talk about your mama, your precious mother at 82, who lived long enough to see her baby win the Pulitzer Prize. And I am fascinated by how you had to contain yourself in that library, in that airport rather, while you were waiting for your flight. And I'm also tickled because I hate flight delays. Nobody likes them. But if ever you were going to be delayed, that was the right day to be delayed. So you could see the announcement of your winning the Pulitzer Prize in history before you boarded your plane and you took off. God works in mysterious ways, I declare. More with Dr. Edda Fields Black when we come forward celebrating her winning the 2025 Pulitzer Prize in history on Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on!
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Hey man, hey, what's up, bro? That station you listening to? Oh man, you don't know? That's Talk Radio, KBLA, 1580 AM. Check it out. 1580 KBLA AM. 1580 Talk Radio. Progressive.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we're celebrating our 4th anniversary, and this track right here is the gift one of our devoted listeners presented to us.
Where you get some information, get a true education, just to know. Ooh, yeah. 1580.
How cool is that? Having a member of our KBLA delegation write us a song. Stop it! Our listeners love us and there ain't nothing we can do about it. Wouldn't want to. Thanks to Cardell and everybody else for turning on KBLA Talk 1580. We love you right black.
KBLA 1580 Talk Radio. Get it like me. Ooh, KBLA 1580 Talk Radio. Progressive.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy.
assume that Dr. Edda Fields Black was rather happy, as was her 82-year-old mother, when the news came that she was the winner of the 2025 Pulitzer Prize in History for this year. I am always happy when Black history is celebrated, particularly at a moment like this, where they are doing everything they can to deny the truth, to not teach the truth, to ban books, etc., etc. And into that moment steps Edda Fields Black as the winner of this year's Pulitzer Prize in History for her best-selling book, COMBEE, Harriet Tubman, The Combahee River Raid, and Black Freedom During the Civil War. Trust and believe. We're going to get to the book in a second here, I promise. I'm going to make her work all over again because our first conversation was so rich. But for those who don't know about this book, haven't heard about this book, and why it is being so honored this year at the Pulitzer Prize, we'll get to that, I promise, just a little bit later in this conversation. But take me back to that airport. So you're watching on your phone in the airport. God has worked it so that your flight has been delayed so that you can actually see this. How did you contain yourself when you saw that you were the winner?
It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. I mean, I silently screamed in this airport, surrounded by all of these people. And I just took it in. It was wonderful.
Yeah. I'm always fascinated by stories like these because here you are in an airport and you are being announced as the Pulitzer Prize winner in history, and nobody around you knows what just happened. They don't know who you are. They don't know. They don't know who they're sitting next to. But they're sitting next to a person who has just made American history, and they have no idea who they're sitting next to. So my other question, which I'm anxious to ask, and I'm sure the audience who follows me every day knows, they're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. Did you get a chance to talk to your precious mother before you took off?
I did not.
No.
I did not.
No.
But I called her when I landed.
Yeah.
I did. I called her when I landed. And then I also had calls and texts and emails from my editor, from the press, my publicist, my agent.
Sure.
All of the folks who had also been watching and didn't say anything. And that's what Mom said. Mom said, you said you didn't want to know anything. Mm-hmm. So I just put it on my calendar and I was going to take care of it.
Yeah. I am anxious now. We did not get to this in the first conversation, nor would we have, given that the conversation went a different direction. That's why I'm so delighted to have you back on now, that you are the Pulitzer Prize winner in history for 2025. Tell me a bit about your mother. And I asked that in part because I just talked about, of course, the value and the importance of Black history. And I'm a mama's boy. I say so proudly and unapologetically. I think of the ways in which at various points in my career, my mother has just been so proud of her baby with the various things that have been bestowed upon me over the course of my career. But I can't imagine what it must be like to be 82 and to have birthed a baby who goes on to win the Pulitzer Prize in history. I'm just curious about your personal, your family's backstory, and that of your mother that leads up to this iconic moment. Tell me a bit more, Dr. Fields Black.
Well, I'm born and raised in Miami, Florida. And my mother's family are a family of immigrants from the Bahamas. My great-grandparents immigrated and then began their family once they got to Florida. My father's family is from the South Carolina and Georgia Low Country. Dad was the last of his siblings born about a mile or two from where the raid took place. Mom is a historian and an archivist and an institution builder. She's founder of the Black Archives Foundation for History and Research of South Florida, a repository that's over 50 years old, and has collected the history of Black folks in South Florida. So these are African Americans as well as West Indians and people from Latin America, right, who have African ancestry there in Miami. And so she's a very accomplished person and a historian of herself. And now she says her newest title is the mother of the Pulitzer Prize winner.
Yeah. I can't imagine how she must process all of this, given that, well, first of all,
Yeah.
it's clear to me and the audience right now that you got it honest. I mean, you come by this
Yes.
calling, this profession,
Yes.
this avocation. You come by it honest,
Yes.
number one. But secondly, I can't imagine what it must feel like to have labored in this vineyard, this particular vineyard, of being a black historian for all these years, and to have then birthed a baby who goes on to win the Pulitzer Prize. This must be an unspeakable joy for your mother.
Yes, yes, it is. And in so many ways, I am a historian because of my mother,
Yeah.
right? Because of her influence, because of the values and just the education that she put into me, and because of her example,
Yeah.
right? And so, yes, to see that work come to fruition, I think is I know it's just a very beautiful and wonderful thing for her.
Yeah. The other part of that story that jumped out at me, and I suspect all those listening right now as well, is the immigrant backstory in your own family. You know where I'm going here. We're having this conversation every day in this country about these mass deportations that Donald Trump is trying to implement. We had Mayor Bass on this program earlier today. There was an ICE raid here in L.A. yesterday. The mayor showed up, and she got caught in the scrum of that yesterday, and she called in today to give us an update on what happened at MacArthur Park here in Los Angeles yesterday. But we've had any number of conversations where I've tried to underline as many times as I can to black people that this issue of immigration is our issue too.
Yes,
We saw the news. We saw the news a couple weeks ago where Donald Trump removed all the protections for Haitian immigrants. I just saw he did the same thing the other day for Nicaraguan and Venezuelan immigrants. But he's turning his back on America's immigrant past, on America's immigrant story. But this ain't just a brown thing; it's a black thing. So to hear you tell the story of your own immigration past just jumps out at me. Say a bit more about that in a moment like this.
Yes, so I think that's, well, as of, I believe, 2010 even, there were more immigrants of African descent in the U.S. than there were people who were originally brought by force via the transatlantic slave trade. So we are a people of immigrants. Africa, the Caribbean, Latin America, so many points across the globe. Many of our families, black families, are mixed families like my own with immigrants, right? So, and for people even who have been naturalized, you're talking about your family members, right? You're voting against your family members and them being able to have the opportunities that you've had, for you even being able to reunite your family. I think it's an exceedingly important issue for us. And I think we also need to understand the connection to birthright citizenship, that African Americans became citizens, people who are the descendants of slaves became citizens of these United States because of the 14th Amendment, which granted birthright citizenship to us, Black folks. Okay? That's the same birthright citizenship that people who immigrate to this country, if they are not citizens, but they have children, those children become citizens. So if Trump starts stripping away the 14th Amendment and telling us that it's, to limit immigration, that's a slippery slope to talk about denaturalizing African Americans. And we need to recognize that. I have had conversations with my own mother again about our family and when were her grandparents naturalized, right? If you start chipping away at birthright citizenship, how far back are you going to go? Were I know my great grandparents weren't citizens when my grandmother was born. What does that say about me?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And my mother and my sister and our whole line.
It's a powerful reminder. about, again, why this issue is our issue as much as it is anybody else's. Our guest is Dr. Edda Black. She's the Pulitzer Prize winner in history for 2025. Her book is called COMBEE, Harriet Tubman, the Combahee River Raid and Black Freedom During the Civil War. We'll get to the book, I promise, a little bit later in this conversation. But before I do that, speaking of Harriet Tubman, I saw you smack, well, you didn't really smack him physically. I saw you go in on Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, when he suggested that the Navy should consider removing Harriet Tubman's name from a ship, along with Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Thurgood Marshall, and you went to action immediately, writing a pretty powerful op-ed, as I recall, in the Washington Post. I think it was Washington Post.
Yes,
Washington Post. Yeah. Pretty powerful op-ed where you push back on Pete Hegseth about Harriet Tubman. For those who didn't get a chance to read that piece, unpack it for me.
Yes, so, we had to stand up, hands off of Harriet Tubman. Hegseth has called for the renaming of the USNS Harriet Tubman, which is part of the John Lewis class of oilers for the U.S. Navy. And it was important, we thought, myself and Kate Clifford Larson, who was one of Harriet Tubman's biographers, to point out the fact that she is actually a war hero, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have been there. We're part of a team that is working on preserving the legacy of Harriet Tubman and working on the U.S. Army, working with the U.S. Army. And so the U.S. Army General Counsel issued an opinion January of this year, right before the inauguration, that Harriet Tubman was in fact a soldier. She could not enlist because she was a woman, but and there were plenty of men who could have enlisted and didn't. Yet she risked her life for freedom, for this country, and for the perfection of our democracy. And in that process, in the evidence that was given to the U.S. Army General Counsel, this is evidence from COMBEE, right? So this is information that I uncovered in my book. Mm-hmm. The one thing that was sort of the linchpin of all of this, of course, the Combahee River Raid, but specifically Harriet Tubman's role in leading a group of spies, scouts, and pilots, 8 or 9. These were men she recruited, she trained, she led. They piloted Colonel James Montgomery, who was the commander of the mission, and his men up the Combahee River. Harriet and her men infiltrated these rice plantations in Confederate territory before the raid. She gathered the intelligence, conducted espionage to identify the enslaved men who were forced to mine the Combahee River with torpedoes. Harriet and her men and the officers of the U.S. Army accompanied the men back to the sites where these mines were planted, and the mines were diffused. This opened the Combahee River up to the U.S. Army boats. That's the evidence that convinced the U.S. Army that she was a soldier, right? She was a soldier. She was recognized as a soldier then, and she should be recognized as a soldier now.
Have they backed off, to your point, hands off of Harriet? Are there hands off of Harriet at this point?
Well, we haven't heard anything further.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Secretary Hegseth renamed the USNS Harvey Milk right at the end of Pride Month.
I remember that, yeah.
And there has not been any progress on renaming the other ships. That has been made public.
Our guest is Dr. Edda Black, Carnegie Mellon University professor, winner of the 2025 Pulitzer Prize in History for her best-selling book, COMBEE, Harriet Tubman, the Combahee River Raid, and Black Freedom During the Civil War. If you are not familiar with this now Pulitzer Prize-winning text, you will be when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
I'm Tammy Eswick with BIN News Now. Louisiana televangelist Jimmy Swaggart will be laid to rest this weekend. Here's his son, Donnie.
My dad was a warrior.
The 90-year-old suffered a heart attack just last month. He was a staple in Black American homes in the 1980s. Several scandals involving prostitutes threatened to destroy his career, but he bounced back and built his ministry into a multi-million-dollar enterprise. He was 90 years old. Following breaking news, the International Criminal Court has issued arrest warrants for the supreme leader of the Taliban and the chief justice of that organization, accusing them of persecuting girls and women in Afghanistan. A new poll from Gotham Polling and Analytics shows Zohran Mamdani is way ahead of his competitors. According to the poll, Mamdani would get 41% of the vote, former Governor Andrew Cuomo 26%, and the incumbent Black Mayor Eric Adams would get 16%. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Something is going on with the Dodgers pitching staff. The Dodgers have been outscored 38-7 in their last 4 games. They lost their 4th straight Monday night, a 9-1 loss at Milwaukee. A bases-loaded walk in the bottom of the 9th inning gave the Angels a 6-5 win over Texas. The Angels are 21-20 at home. Ben Shelton, the only African-American in the men's quarterfinals at Wimbledon, will play Yannick Sinner of Italy on Wednesday. Sinner, ranked number 1 in the world, is 5-0 against Shelton. At 22, Shelton is the youngest player in the men's bracket to advance to the quarterfinals at Wimbledon since Andy Roddick in 2004. Roddick was 21. Tough break for the Indiana Pacers and Tyrese Halliburton. The Pacers found out Monday that Halliburton will miss all of next season. Halliburton tore his right Achilles tendon in the first quarter of Game 7 in the NBA Finals on June 22nd. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know the United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time? Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
BET and PBS, The Tom Joyner Morning Show, and NPR, the cover of Jet and the cover of Time. #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list, 20 honorary doctorate degrees, a dozen NAACP Image Awards, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. From talk shows to talk radio, nobody's ever done it better. This is Tavis Smiley.
No one wants to leave behind stress for their family. That's why a trust or a will is so important. Without one, your assets might go to the wrong people or leave out loved ones. Also, probate is long, expensive, and often avoidable with a revocable trust. Trustandwill.com makes it simple to create a personalized estate plan. A trust or will provides clarity and peace of mind. Get 20% off on your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com/radio.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
And the top-rated African-American talk show host in the nation, according to Talkers Magazine. You're tapped in with Tavis Smiley right now.
The finalists in history: COMBEE, Harriet Tubman, the Combahee River Raid, and Black Freedom During the Civil War, by Edda L. Black. A richly textured and revelatory account of a slave rebellion that brought 756 enslaved people to freedom in a single day, weaving military strategy and family history with the transition from bondage to freedom. The prize goes to COMBEE, Harriet Tubman, the Combahee River Raid, and Black Freedom During the Civil War, by Edda L. Black.
That is the official announcement. They say it so dryly. But that's how they read off the winners of the Pulitzer Prize. That's the actual audio that our guest, Dr. Edda Fields Black, was watching and listening to, as well as her precious 82-year-old mother and everybody else, not long ago when the announcement was made for the Pulitzer Prize winner in history for 2025. She is our guest once again on this program. In case you've just tuned in, I said a few times when this book first dropped, she was kind enough to come on this program for a spirited, brilliant, empowering one-hour conversation. And when I saw the news that she'd won the big prize, invited her back on this program. One, to celebrate her, but also as an opportunity for those who did not catch this book the first time to be empowered by what's in this book this time around. Now it has won and forever will be listed in history as the winner of the Pulitzer Prize in history for 2025. So there's my setup, Dr. Fields Black. For those who didn't hear our first conversation, I'm putting you back to work again. You've done some of this already, but tell me the story of this rebellion led by Harriet Tubman that freed 756 people, enslaved people in one day.
I am going to tell it a little different this time,
You can do that. You're a
Tavis.
Pulitzer Prize winner. You do whatever you want to do on this program.
I'm going to focus a little bit on the people and the enslaved people and the formerly enslaved, like Harriet Tubman, whose stories and names I've unearthed in the writing of Combee and whose stories I tell in the book. And that was one of my goals, was to tell the story of the raid from the perspective in the voices of the people whom Harriet Tubman liberated. And I did it. So I'm going to tell you some of their stories as I talk about what happened. Um, June 1st of 1863, around 9 p.m., 3 U.S. Army gunboats left the port in downtown Beaufort, and they went north up the Beaufort River um, until they hit the mouth of the Coosaw River. Now it's 9 p.m. It's June. Uh, it was a full moon that night, and it was also a spring tide. And the spring tide means that there should have, these are the highest tidal amplitudes and the highest high tides, lowest low tides of the lunar cycle. And that extra water should have helped these boats get up the river. Okay. So they're underway. They hit the mouth of the Coosaw River and they run aground. This first opposition that they encountered was at the mouth of the Coosaw River, and it was sandbars and floating sandbars, not the Confederate Army. The Coosaw River is still notorious for these sandbars. So it was about 3 hours until the next high tide. So they had to leave one of the boats behind. And I speculate in Combee that it was Isaac Hayward, who was one of Tubman's spy scouts and pilots, one of the men she recruited, she trained, she led, who was born on Coosaw Island and was a boatman in Beaufort, that it may have been Isaac Hayward's call to go up the mouth of the Coosaw River to save time and to maintain their advantages of surprise, as opposed to going all the way around Port Royal Sound. It was a risky maneuver, um, and they lost one boat, but they did save time, and time was of the essence. The boats continued, and the next stop that they made was at Fields Point. Two boats continued. At Fields Point, this is where they encounter Confederate pickets for the first time. These pickets were there as guards and were ordered to call for reinforcements. So when they encounter Black soldiers for the first time, they fled. And there are wonderful newspaper articles about them fleeing so quickly that they left their blankets warm. They flee, and two companies of the 2nd South Carolina, who were Black soldiers, 2nd South Carolina volunteers, disembarked at Fields Point, and they held it down at Fields Point, and then two companies at Tar Bluff, just north of Fields Point. They held it down until the boats came back to get them. So the boats continue. We know that from one of the main characters of Combee, whose name was Minus Hamilton. Minus Hamilton was on he was on James Paul's plantation, and he told his life story a few weeks after the raid, that the enslaved people were in the rice fields when they first heard, smelled, felt the U.S. gunboats coming up the river towards them. He said it was 4 a.m. Okay. It was 4 a.m. and they were hoeing rice. And I can tell you that 4 a.m. on the Combee, even under the full moon, you cannot see your hand in front of your face, let alone the snakes. They wouldn't have seen the snakes that were hiding in the grass and the moss as they walked a mile from the slave cabins to the rice fields, or the alligators that infested the rice fields. And yet they are in the rice fields hoeing rice at 4 a.m. Mr. Hamilton tells us, he talks about where he was in bondage by Old Master Lowndes. He talks about what happened to he and his wife that morning. He regretted not being able to go back to the slave cabin to get the two things that he felt were his, which were 2 blankets. He tells us he only had on a pair of pantaloons and his wife a frock and a head tie. His wife started to trash talk when someone told them that the Confederates were coming, the rebels are coming. She said, let them come on. And finally, Minus Hamilton tells us what it was like when he saw Black men in uniform, and this is the 2nd South Carolina Volunteers, for the first time.
I want to hear, I want to hear what Minus Hamilton thought when he saw those black soldiers for the first time. Our guest is Carnegie Mellon professor, Dr. Edda L. Fields Black, winner of the 2025 Pulitzer Prize in History for her book that we're discussing right now, COMBEE, Harriet Tubman, the Combahee River Raid, and Black Freedom during the Civil War.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Yeah. At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time, whenever news breaks, while we're on the air. It's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580, and we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. Thank you, thank you.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
No one wants to leave behind stress for their family. That's why a trust or a will is so important. Without one, your assets might go to the wrong people or leave out loved ones. Also, probate is long, expensive, and often avoidable with a revocable trust. Trustandwill.com makes it simple to create a personalized estate plan. A trust or will provides clarity and peace of mind. Get 20% off on your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com/radio.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Yeah, yo, come on. Here come the drums.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah, gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey,
I
listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck B. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power! Fight the power!
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley, Dr. Edda Fields Black. My time is getting tight on me here at the end of the hour here. What did Miles Hamilton think, Dr. Fields Black, when he saw those black soldiers?
He called them the black soldiers so presumptuous, and he talked about them. He was in complete awe, and he talks about them holding their heads up, keeping their back straight, going straight onto the plantation owned by the man who held him in bondage and burning it to the ground. And he just can't believe his eyes, right? This 88-year-old man who grew up, lived his entire life in bondage and never thought he would see that day.
Yeah. That is the story of Miles Hamilton. Again, my time is tight. You're going to mention, you said you had a couple other people you're going to share with me. Give me another person whose story you tell in the book.
Well, I'm going to say I'll talk about Tubman. Tubman, the boat that Miles Hamilton was on was at Longbrow Plantation. The gunboat, which was the lead boat, that's the boat Harriet Tubman was on. It continued up to Combahee Ferry. And we know that Tubman, her group of spies, scouts, and pilots, Colonel James Montgomery, were all in the pilot houses of the gunboat. And both of these boats, once they docked, they sent out rowboats to more distant plantations off the river. So Tubman was on a rowboat. We know that she got to burning buildings once she got out to that plantation, which was Bonnie Hall. She went to the slave cabins and told the people who were still there, these were probably disabled people, children, people who couldn't work, right? Very elderly people, coax them to come on to the river so they could get to freedom. On the lead boat also, the 2nd South Carolina soldiers went to Cypress Plantation. And I tell the story of Friday Hamilton, who escaped before the raid, went to Beaufort, joined up with Colonel Montgomery, came back with the 2nd South Carolina, and then liberated his mother, father, sister, and brother-in-law from Cypress Plantation. And Hector Fields, who was my great-great-great-grandfather, who was liberated before the raid, joined the 2nd South Carolina in March 1863 and fought in the Combahee River Raid.
I want to hear about Hector Fields when we come forward in our remaining moments with Edda Fields Black, the recipient of the coveted Pulitzer Prize for her book recounting a rebellion led by Harriet Tubman that freed 756 enslaved folk in one day, no less. She deserves the Pulitzer in history. I'm glad she won it, glad she's on this program. Our remaining moments with her when we come forward.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cow Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
It's never too early to start talking about money in realistic ways with your kids. JP Morgan Chase navigates how to educate your kids now about creating long-lasting, healthy money habits. Whether your kids are in elementary school, high school, or college, now is a great time to start a conversation about ways to create healthy money habits as they grow, ultimately benefiting their financial future. Talking about money in a realistic way to support your kids' lifestyle and dreams, your first banking account geared towards high school or college. It's never too early. Explaining the basics, what you earn and what you spend, building financial confidence starts with getting organized. Learning and practicing vital money skills now will stay with them for life. Tools they will have to stay on top of their finances and achieve their goals. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
I've got 3 minutes left. 3 minutes left with the Pulitzer Prize winner in history this year, 2025. Carnegie Mellon professor Dr. Edda L. Fields Black for her book COMBEE. Harriet Tubman, the Combahee River Raid, and Black freedom during the Civil War. It seems appropriate we'd close talking about Hector Fields, given that we talked about her precious mother earlier in this conversation. I've got 2.5 minutes left. Dr. Fields Black, it's all yours. Tell me about Hector Fields.
Well, Hector Fields was my great-great-great-grandfather, and we didn't know much about him other than his name before I started researching COMBEE. We knew that my dad's family was from the area, and I had a suspicion that they might have been freed in the raid, but I couldn't prove it, right? And I sought help from the International African American Museum, Center for Family History, which is now located in Charleston, to find Hector Fields. And we found him through the U.S. Civil War pension files. And this is actually how I was able to unearth many of the characters whose lives I write about in COMBEE. Because 150 men from the COMBEE joined the 2nd South Carolina Volunteers the morning after the raid. So all of these veterans, their widows, their dependent children, filed for pensions after the war. So we didn't find much in Hector's pension file. Hector did not get a pension, but we found Hector's brother, Jonas Fields. And in Jonas Fields' pension file, learned about the Fields family that were actually not from Colleton County, were from Beaufort County, and liberated ourselves after the Battle of Port Royal, this big battle in Beaufort. And this is when Hector joined the military.
I get goosebumps just thinking about Hector Fields all those years ago. He could never have known that years down the road, his offspring would write a book about his story and the story of others, as told in COMBEE, Harriet Tubman, the Combahee River Raid, and Black freedom during the Civil War. He certainly couldn't have known that his offspring would then, upon writing that book, be the recipient of the 2025 Pulitzer Prize in history. It is quite a story, as is the one she tells in the book. Dr. Phyllis Black, an honor to have you back on this program. Thank you, and congratulations once again. You deserve it.
Thank you so much, Tavis. Thank you for having me
and
back.
Please give my regards to your precious mother, please.
I will, I promise. I'm sure she's listening.
Good to have you on. Hey, Mama, if you listen. Hey, Mama, congratulations to you as well. Just like that, 3 hours gone, back here tomorrow to do it all over again. Until tomorrow, thanks for tuning in to Tavis Smiley. And as always, keep the faith.